Chef Terry. Hey, Doug. Hey, Hyper. All right. We got three in the house.
Go.
Yeah. He's an old country boy around here, Chris. He's lived around here for. Well, I'm 54, and I know he's older quite a bit than I am. He may be in his early 60s by now. But yeah, he's. Don't let your meatloaf. Okay.
I hadn't really heard
Well,
that
I mean,
before.
I hadn't either until I met him, and he's the only person I've ever heard say it. Well, until today. Now all of you, there you go.
There you go.
You can hang that on me. I've only ever heard one person say that. Stupid thing. There you go. I'm your Huckleberry.
So I had. Okay. All right. I forgot to set up the tweet for it, and I was like, oh, I guess I need to do that. Well, now that we're alive. So, all right. Good time. So everybody's doing well. It's been a day. So Ed and Terry got to go have some fun last night at AEW to see the return of Kenny Omega.
We saw 5 hours of live taping for 3 different AEW programs. It was, and that was our first time. It's pretty cool. It was cool enough that we both made the agreement that we'll maybe juggle the seats where we were at. We had floor seats about 6 rows back.
Cool.
No.
Oh, really?
Too much standing, too many signs.
Yep.
You know, and we were on, and this is all me. It's not her. I picked the tickets. We were on the side opposite the stage.
Gotcha.
They never turned to that side to do anything.
Oh.
You know, of course, it's always left, which is where the hard camera is, or to the right side, which is opposite the hard cam. You know, so they get that crowd going. The stage is where everything happens, right? Coming down and whatever. So our side was like, meh.
Not happening.
Yeah, it was a very poor choice on my part. The side, first of all, but also the being on the floor. I thought that would be cool, and if everybody, if it was elevated at all as you went back, it would be cool. But no, I think next time, really, what I would like to do is try to get camera side, but they block off huge portions in the very middle of the seats for. I don't know because the camera swings across it. Maybe looked like maybe one part of the section was for staff, but there was a whole huge second tier section that I couldn't tell why it was completely empty, but it was.
Yeah.
And I know I looked for what I thought would be good seats by the time I took the chance to buy tickets, and these were the best I thought that I saw available. So we'll just, if I don't have anything camera side, then I'll go facing camera side, the other side of the ring for stuff, because also that's where a lot of the out in the aisle happens. That's a lot of where the gate work happens, and they throw people over completely opposite the camera, so there's a good angle, and so if you're up elevated, you'll be learn. That's all. Learning experience. But I would definitely recommend any wrestling fan take an opportunity and go to a live taping of a TV
for
show.
Sure.
They're something else.
Yeah. I had fun. I've only been to a couple of them. I went to, SummerSlam 2000 or whatever. And then I've been to a couple. Okay. That was the first ever TLC match between the Hardys, and Edge and Christian and the Dudley Brothers. So that was a lot of fun. That was the Triple H, Rock, Kurt Angle triple threat match with Stephanie involved. I heard a story about that I'd never had heard of just recently, that during that match, like I know that Triple. I apologize for everybody who's watching us live and like, what the frick are you people doing? But
we'll get there.
There's a spot where Triple H pedigrees Angle into the announcer's table, and the announcer's table is supposed to break, obviously, when he hits the ground or hits the table, but the table broke before he pedigreed him, and Triple H said all he saw was Angle's face just go into the monitor, that he was above, and the next thing he heard, because the ref came over to check on them both, and one, to really make sure they're okay, and then two, just because it's part of the match,
right?
And Angle was snoring; he was knocked out unconscious.
Oh, yikes! Okay,
and so, which was supposed to be what happened, but not really.
Yeah, but not for real.
So he was supposed to be carted to the back, and he was going to be back there for most of the match, and then there was going to be something with him and Stephanie going on in the background, and then he would come out with Stephanie to finish the match. So he and The Rock kept, it was basically off the cuff at this point. They didn't know when he was coming back. And so Earl Hebner, I think, was the ref, and he kept getting a word from the back, about stuff, and Triple H was like, just tell me if he's coming back. That's all I care about.
Right.
And so, because if not, they were going to have to totally change the ending.
Right. Yeah.
And so, Hebner says I think he said, is he okay? And is he coming back? And all Hebner told him was like, he's coming back. And they were like, he's okay. He's okay. So Stephanie was basically dragging Kurt Angle down the aisle. He had no clue where he was.
No doubt.
No clue where he was. And so he and Triple H started fighting, and there's supposed to be a spot where Triple H takes swings at him, Angle moves, hits Stephanie, and all this other stuff. Angle had no clue where he was. And so Triple H, and if you go back and watch it, you can see Triple H sort of move him out of the way.
Right. So that,
so he could still hit her. And it was just a train wreck. It was a train wreck.
So, hey, Mr. Myers.
Hello, Mr. Myers. Just in time for the show to get started.
Yeah. Those, now that I'm past the story they present me, I watch for those elements of the story that I'm not necessarily supposed to know about. Those are the interesting things to me. Not necessarily a botch, because that's obvious, but just it's like, oh, well, you did that so that you could overhear and this side. Okay.
Yeah,
the refs. I like watching the refs, because you can tell by where they position kind of what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's fun. It's fun. I mean, all of those big pay-per-views and stuff, I pay a lot of attention to the stories afterwards. Like the ones I really watch and really enjoy, I pay attention to those kind of, like that one. Like I still hadn't, this 22 years later, I'd never heard that.
Well, so we've recently been watching the A&E bios. Yeah. We saw the Kurt Angle one. We just watched one on D-Generation X.
Yep.
And neither of those mentioned, they briefly mentioned the match, but they didn't mention any of that kind of stuff. Yeah. So maybe that would have to be one about Triple H to catch that. Maybe. Although I'm surprised that the one involving Kurt Angle didn't.
Yeah, he said it when he was on Logan Paul's podcast a couple weeks ago. Okay. So I was like, and he said it, and I was just like, oh, well, that okay, makes sense now. So, but all right, let's go ahead and jump into things.
Let's do this.
So this is episode 140. Almost at 45. 145. So got a lot going on here. So, yeah. And just for those listening here on the show and whatnot, this won't be for everybody in the audio show, but we are working on a couple things. Actually, we'll talk about it when we get on. Well, sometime during the show, we'll talk about it. Just sort of a pop-up or two here down the road of Boom Addiction. So, all right, in 3, 2, hold on, let me do a better cold, because that's the biggest pain in my butt when I do editing.
Oh, okay.
I can't ever find that spot because I just talk too much. So let me pause for a second.
Okay.
3, 2, 1. Hey everybody, welcome back to Comic Addiction. This is episode number 145. I'm one of your hosts, Chris Parton, and with me as always is Mr. Ed Moore. Ed, how are you?
I am just on a wrestling high, dog. That's me.
Woohoo!
Yeah, boy.
Ed and his wife got to go to AEW for Wednesday night's 1,000 hours of taping.
Yeah, 5 hours of three shows taping, which one aired live, one will air tomorrow, and the other one will air Tuesday on YouTube, I think
Mhm.
is where that one is. So
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
yeah, good stuff. Good
Good
stuff.
stuff. So Ed made sure that they stayed behind the camera the entire time, so you
Yes.
will not be able to see him.
Although I am easy to recognize because I am the goofy looking fellow with a bright canary baseball cap, so that if I was on camera, I
There
could
you go.
pick myself out. That's exactly why I did it. And
Yeah.
I know on Dynamite, I showed up once, maybe twice so far that we've seen. We haven't, of course, watched the other shows yet, but we'll
Yeah.
watch and see.
I had a buddy of mine, this is years and years ago. He lives near Charlotte, and he, WWE comes through Charlotte
Oh
all the
yeah,
time.
that's yeah.
And I was just watching. I forget if it was Raw or SmackDown. That's probably Raw. I was watching it,
Oh,
and
you saw him.
I was like, wait a second, because he was like on the floor, like in one of the corner areas, like he was in
Mhm.
a good spot, on the camera, where you could see him from the hard camera and everything. And I texted him. I said, "Dude,
Are are
are
you
you
over there?
there?" And he did respond for like the longest time. And then like I get a message from him and he's like, "Yeah, I'm here. Yeah." I was like,
Cool
"Okay, I
beans.
thought I saw you on TV and I just wanted to make sure." He's like,
Yep.
"Yeah, we're having a good time." So
New Japan Pro just rolled through there less than a month ago. They were at the Bojangles.
oh, really?
Yeah, New Japan Strong, maybe
Okay.
I believe it was, because Konosuke Takeshita was one of the Japanese wrestlers there. There were a
Yeah.
couple American dudes too, but I think maybe Will Ospreay made that run.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Cool. All right, so let's dive into things. We have a lot of books to talk about, so that's always exciting. So let's
do
jump into
we?
FOC. These are your final order cutoffs. August 22nd is your last day. Check with your local retailer, and they will let you know exactly when they put their orders in, so you can do all that whatnot. Make sure you get your stuff in. These are our suggestions. These are not the best things that are out there. Actually, they are.
Uh,
They're the best things.
yeah, just
We
listen to us. You won't go wrong.
You won't go wrong. Yeah,
That's our job. That's what we're here for.
that's our job. We
Yeah,
have to make sure.
we have to
All
take
right.
this seriously. There's
There we
just
go. Up on the screen now for you.
all right. My first eye catcher was the Todd McFarlane Spider-Man Artist Edition hardcover
You
coming
went
out
out. You started off with a banger,
from
and like,
IDW, which
jeez,
that's kind of odd if you think about it, because it's like, well, isn't that Marvel? Yeah, I don't know how IDW gets the rights to produce these, but
all these artist editions. I don't know,
yeah,
but they do. Have you seen these things in real life?
yeah, I've seen a couple.
Holy
Yeah,
cow, these are nice looking books.
yeah, they are absolutely beautiful, and it's cool. I mean that the other companies allow them to do it.
Hmm.
Obviously, IDW already has the process set up.
Yeah,
I don't know if they touch base and Marvel says, "Hey, will you do this one?" Or if IDW says, "Hey, can we do this one?" I have
yeah.
no idea how that works, but either way, Todd McFarlane. I mean, come on. Well, okay. First of all, he's not necessarily my favorite, but I easily acknowledge the importance of Spider-Man overall, and of course, Spider-Man for Marvel Comics. So there's that. Um, Green Goblin, Hobgoblin, Sandman, Vulture, Lizard, excuse me, Hulk, Wolverine. All those characters are in this book, plus
Yep.
Spider-Man, plus Venom, drawn by one of not the main man responsible for the creation of Image. Marvel was not big enough to contain Todd McFarlane's ego in the early 90s. So he had to start his own company to
He
help
needed to go
rein all that
elsewhere.
in. Yeah. And just think, if Todd did not want to run a sword through Juggernaut's eye, we never would have had Image.
That's
He
true.
would have
Yeah.
been happy where he was. But that was the, oh, I can't take this editorial anymore. They won't let me do what I want.
I have that issue over there in
It's
one
like,
of my
dog,
boxes.
you want to run a sword through somebody's eye in a comic book? Come on. Eh.
It's a
So
gruesome.
Todd took his ball and went somewhere else to play, and by
Yep.
golly, it worked. But Todd McFarlane eye candy. got to be some of the most
Oh
elite
yeah.
level eye candy that there is. All of this is collected. All of this, probably the others that I have seen, are in black and white, which
Yeah.
would just make McFarlane's art that much more prominent because
Hmm.
there's nobody trying to hide it. So yeah, absolutely, artist edition for Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man.
Yep. Potato, I watched Liefeld's
Oh
stream last night. He
yeah,
did a few. Oh, his McFarlane
his
impression is
are
amazing.
funny. Hyper, have you listened to Rob's podcast, Robservations? He will go off on McFarlane every other episode and
Yeah.
do that impression. It's very
Yeah.
amusing.
It's good stuff, man. It's good stuff. Yeah, this is right sort of my sweet spot of Spider-Man stuff.
Oh man,
Um,
yes.
I had been reading Spider-Man off and on for a little bit prior to this. But I my first issue that I collected that I picked up and then didn't stop for like golly, what felt like 15 years probably, was issue 301. And so that was, right there with Venom starting up and everything. Actually, 298 was where he started up, or
Close enough.
299, I mean. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, reading all that stuff and really digging his art style. So yeah, this is definitely I'm not gonna be able to afford the 150 on this one,
Well,
but I
I was
would
gonna say,
definitely
yeah, yeah, I was just gonna bring that up. That's a definite wanna get kind of price. That's
yeah. Oh
that's
yeah,
not a,
for
"Oh,
sure.
I'll pick this up when I say," no, you make up your mind pretty early that you wanna drop 150 on a
Yep.
book, so
Oh yeah. And Potato bringing up the fact that last week we talked about Sergeant Flag had a Liefeld cover. He
yes, yes, that's
he
right.
actually did get his cover,
Okay,
so
cool
sweet.
beans. Yeah, I've got another
So
G-Man book to talk about tonight, actually.
cool. All right, my first book up is Masquerade number 1 of 4 from Dark Horse Comics. I don't know anything about this book, but the fact that Kevin Smith is going to be writing it
Okay.
seems to be a little bit of fun for me there. So it basically it's just it's a vigilante story of some kind, and it's gonna be part of his Secret Stash press imprint. So it's a new sci-fi crime drama with Kevin Smith. I mean, sure, I'm intrigued. So, I mean, I'm a big fan of his, Daredevil run from way back. I'm a big fan of his Green Arrow run from way back. So, I mean, I do enjoy his movies. I think he's got a quirky style to him, and I think he can definitely do comics. I mean, that's been proven already. So yeah, I mean, I'll try it out and see what it's like.
We just hope that he writes all 5 issues, 4 issues, whatever
Well,
it's
it's only
gonna be.
4 issues, so if he's writing a 5th one, that's a
Well,
special edition.
four may be
But I
a
d
bit of a pull for him too,
but
so
there have been a couple of those miniseries that are just floating out there that, yeah, waiting for the last issue or 2.
yeah, yeah. Alright, my next pick is Vampirella Mindwarp #1 from Dynamite. Particularly eye-catching is this cover, which is the A cover,
I
done
know.
by Joseph Michael Linsner. So, anytime that you can get a Linsner with an A cover, grab it,
Yep,
because
totally
usually
agree.
his are some of the other ratio covers higher up the
Mhm,
line, 25, 50, 100, so you're gonna pay through the nose for them if you really want them. Here, cover price, and you got a Linsner cover. Yeah, there's something inside about the Vampirella, and she, encounters a bad guy, and she fights him across time, which is her time, different portions of her existence. And
mhm.
oh yeah, 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 that all sounds interesting. I bet it's pretty on the inside. Jeff Parker's a good writer.
Oh, yeah.
Linsner on the cover. There you go. That's the best reason, sight unseen, to grab that book, because you can see the cover, so you know exactly what you're getting, and
Yeah.
that's
No, I
that
was
that's
I
that's
was
all I got.
impressed to see that Lizer was doing the A cover on this one.
I'm
Um,
an easy mark. Okay.
I'm that you are, sir. That you
Yeah.
are. Doesn't
Hey. Okay.
doesn't take much. I'm
I know
sure
my
it'll
place in the microcosm there.
I'm sure
I
it'll
know
be
where
a
I fit.
fun book. So
It probably will be. I've recently taken an interest in Vampirella, so I've been noticing her books a lot more.
I
And
gotta
this
start.
one, um, if she drops into herself at different parts of her timeline, that would be one thing. But if she is there in some aspect and has to watch the different things that have happened to her,
Mhm.
that would be a highly entertaining book.
Oh, yeah.
However they're going to present it.
We shall see. My next book is Tmnt's Armageddon game, number 1. I'm showing you the not final art for cover B because cover A doesn't have a cover yet, so I'm a little worried. But this is the new or the upcoming TMNT event of the year. I picked up the I guess the prelude to it or something to that effect a couple weeks back. Still haven't read it yet, so I'm a little bit behind on my TMNT reading. But this is the big one. For those of you who've not been reading TMNT lately, I want to draw your eyes to this under the leadership of Shredder. The TMNT begin a dangerous quest to seek out allies against the Rat King's terror.
But wasn't Shredder their big enemy?
Yep, it's fun. It's really interesting.
Okay.
I jumped back on to TMNT probably around right before issue 100. Okay. So I've been reading it and enjoying it quite a bit. So I'm looking forward to this one.
And to show you how long it's been since I've read TMNT, I remember Shredder dying. And that was the last I remember about Shredder. So that's
couple times it feels like.
That's like way back there. Which is that was all that was supposed to happen.
Right. That was supposed to be it.
Right. Weren't they planning on just one book and they put it out and it's like,
yeah.
oh yeah, we beat him, he's gone. Okay. Oh, okay. And yeah, we see what happened to the franchise after that, though.
Oh yeah.
All right, my next one is Lovecraft Unknown Kadath, number 1 from Ablaze Comics. Speaking of a mark, I am a huge mark for anything Cthulhian. Loaning to my Twitter handle and most of my other logins and whatever that I use being Miskatonic. So for those of you that are into the Cthulhu mythos, excuse me, that will send up a flag that there must be some connection, and there is. But yeah, anything having to do with Cthulhu, the old gods, and any of that kind of stuff always gets my interest. As a matter of fact, it was one of the first things that drew me to a particular comic book publisher was that one of their initial, handful of offerings was a longer running series having to do with the Cthulhu mythos. So always something interesting. This is coming to us from Florentino Flores and Guillermo Senna with this cover that we're seeing here, I believe is the one by Jacques Salomon.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So this in particular is going to be a comic adaptation of the Dream Quest of Unknown Kadath, which is a very, very well known to Lovecraftian aficionados as being one of his better or one of his most quickly thrown out stories of, oh, you like Lovecraft, have you read, and it's kind of assumed that if you are a true fan of Lovecraft, that this is one of his novellas that you've read.
I want to just point out to everybody that Mike Myers has said so far he has pre-ordered everything. So I feel like so far our FOC list has the Mike Myers stamp of approval.
I think yes, that is what's great. And Mike, that 150, I certainly understand on one book. That's
oh, for sure.
That's a bit to swallow. If you really want it, yeah, I'll hold off and take my chance and see if in stock trades maybe gets it for a lesser price or but yeah, 150 brand new is that's a hard pill to swallow.
Yep. And I'm glad I knew you were going to pick this book. I was gonna pick it. And I was like, nah, Ed's probably going to pick this one.
I'm so obvious. Oh, my.
So the last book I've picked, I picked oh, yeah, no, this is right. I'm sorry. I was looking at my other lists. I apologize. So this is Least We Can Do number 1 from Image Comics. This is, for me, unknown writer. I think the only thing, there's like one other Image book that they wrote. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head now. But anyway, so it's a mysterious power arises from a world nearly destroyed by war. Young woman fights for her ideas of revolution and builds a new society from the debris. Realizing that she can't do it alone, she has to prove her worth to the Eclipse Rebels to join them against the dreadful Eden army. It's just one of those things. The cover art looks great. I've seen a couple of interior previews and it looks good. And I'm always digging on a first issue, especially when it comes from Image, because I feel like they're, you know, they've got a sort of a bar that they try to hold up to, and you know, if the book passes that bar, then, or at least on the editorial side or management side, then it's gonna be something I might enjoy. So we're gonna try out the first issue, see what it's like, and then go from there. So
cool,
so good stuff. So, all right, those are our 6 FOC picks. So, like I said, be sure to check out with your local retailer before the 22nd, which is this coming Monday, and see what you can get. And again, this is just 6. All these publishers have a bunch of other books and stuff like that. Not just comics, but you know, like Ed was showing with the artist edition, you know, trades and hardcovers and special books and stuff like that. So be sure to check out some of that. So, Mr. Geekvine, Mr. Geekvine, how are you, sir?
Hey, yes, Geekvine, howdy.
It's one of those things. If I say his real name, then I'm kind of like, it's like, does everybody know who Martin is? Are we all? And I was like, no, it's Mike. It's okay. Yeah, we all know who Martin is. So. Glad you could join us, sir.
Martin! A thing called Truth.
That's it. Thank you, Mike. That's what I was trying to remember.
Oh, the other one by this writer?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And it's Yolanda Zarafdina
Martini.
Yeah. So, all right. So let's dive into next week's new releases that we would like to suggest. So.
Yes, much excitement.
So, shocker for anyone who knows Ed.
Wynd, the Throne in the Sky. Yes, from Boom Studios. Mr. James Tiny in the Fourth and Michael Dalinas. This is the 3rd chapter, I guess we can say, of the Wynd story. Unfortunately, it's the final chapter, but at least we have 5 more issues to look forward to wrap things up. Been following this since the very beginning. This is one of the few books that I actually consider variants whenever I see them. Typically, I don't. There's only one property that I variant hunt. Wynd is almost a second. I don't quite go after them like I do my first, but I do search out. I know that like when the book first came out, I did get all of the issue 1 of the first chapter, first volume. I got all the variants for issue 1.
Cool.
But after that, I can, yeah. But yes, excellent high fantasy story. Excellent. Just this is a James Tynion property, and Michael Dalinas. They've been the arter. Yeah, wow. They've been the artist writer for all 3 portions. So it's their baby, and they shepherd it very well. Very enjoyable. Yep. Having read the second one, I would think that the third will fall in the same format, in that you can read these 5 books by themselves and enjoy it quite a bit. It may not be necessary to read anything before this to really understand what's going on, but rather just an addition to the world, kind of fleshing it out for you kind of situation. So yeah, definitely been waiting for this. Now that it's on the horizon, definitely looking forward to grabbing it.
Oh yeah. I remember when it got solicited, we were both like, sweet, and they were like, no,
finally. Yeah.
So, all right. My first pick is Fantastic Four number 46. I have been reading along with Dan Slott for his entire run. It's funny that his run is only going to be 46 issues. I really felt like he was going to have this super long run on Fantastic Four. So I don't know what the reasoning, did he just want to get to the Reckoning War and that was it? I mean, if so, I mean, he built up a good story and a lot of stuff going on. I mean, I really enjoyed Fantastic Four under his writing. So, but we're getting this will be it. There'll be a couple of issues dealing with the Judgment Day event that's going on that I could care less about. And then this book is going to get relaunched with a new number one with Ryan North writing it, which is super exciting. So we'll see, what that holds when that gets solicited in November. So, or for the November releases. So, but yeah, so for me, this it's almost like a bittersweet thing because I really wanted 100 issues of Dan Slott doing Fantastic Four because he was doing a really good job. And prior to this, Fantastic Four was like on hiatus because Marvel didn't know what to do with them because of movie rights and all this other
that's
stuff.
because somebody else owned the movie rights.
Oh
that
yeah,
is so.
I know
Yeah.
it was stupid. So, it's Chris, thanks for that. Been trying to find the answer as to who was picking up Fantastic Four. Yep.
Oh yeah, they just announced that yesterday?
Yeah, it was just early.
Today?
Yeah, it was earlier this week. Yeah, just a few days ago. So yeah, and I've completely blanked on who the artist is. Oh my gosh, I can't remember off the top of my head. But
I remember North being the writer. Yeah,
but Alex Ross is doing the covers, and those are, you wouldn't be able to see it, but I've already got the covers on my phone as far as my lock page and my lock screen and my home screen. They're really, really nice. So, all right, moving on.
All right, my next pick is Aztec Ace, the complete collection. This is coming.
Almost picked these issues up this weekend.
You should.
My local shop had had them all bound together. Oh my gosh.
This is coming out from Dark Horse. This book has a rather long and disfortunate story. Such that this was one of the books that finally helped me decide to never again support a particular publisher on Kickstarter, and in conjunction, never again support the person that owns that publishing company on Kickstarter, because this book was kickstarted in 2018. It was fully funded. Of course, the publisher got our money. And that is then just, his world collapsed and he had financial troubles and his company had financial troubles. And then Dark Horse, he announced that somebody, he didn't say Dark Horse, but he announced somebody had picked this up to help him finish publishing it 2 years ago. And then back the middle of July, he dropped the date. That is, it actually does correspond to this date that they're saying here as far as Dark Horse publishing it. Now, those of us that supported the Kickstarter, we still have no idea when Dark Horse will send them to us, if they will, where they're coming from, we just know things from his end. He has never given any information for our satisfaction because I'll throw the name out there, Mr. Drew Ford doesn't care about us and us being fulfilled on the things that we gave him money for. And I can say that because this is not his only recent Kickstarter that he has done that with.
No, not.
And
as soon as you said that name, I was like, oh god.
His company It's Alive, and he is Drew Ford. Avoid his Kickstarters like the plague, people, and you will do yourself a benefit.
Yep.
Recently, he announced Roach Mill that he was going to put out, and what was the latest one? Kurt and I on Twitter went back and forth about waiting until this comes out and buying it from somebody that has it in stock.
Right. Yeah.
It's another compilation of I can't remember what the series was.
Is he doing one for Airboy or something like that?
That was previous.
Oh, okay. I just remember
he was involved.
I remember the 1,000 emails I got about that.
Yeah. Mike, do you remember what the latest
It's Alive? Fish Police?
Yes. Fish Police. That's what it was.
Oh crap! I'm so happy I did not see that.
Yes, that was him, and it's supposed to be the Apple Kamiko. Fish Wrap is a different book. Apple and Kamiko, and I thought there was maybe the Marvel maybe all of those series in one compendium
Oh,
with
wow.
new stuff, also a separate production by is his name Caruso, the original
Yeah,
writer artist, uh,
yeah.
and it's supposed to be like a 5-issue miniseries of brand new material, also
Yeah,
in a
I'm
separate
glad I
project.
didn't
So,
waste my money on that. I'll just
oh,
wait till somebody else gets it.
I saw that and I'm like, yes, and then no,
Yep.
okay, yeah. So, Aztec Ace, it's exactly how it's described. I'll read the blurb for those that don't know it. Excuse me. It was a 15-issue book. It stars Kaza as he travels between the Aztec Empire and his home in the 23rd century. Ace, along with his pupil Bridget Chronopolis and his navigator named Head, struggle to save his own dimension from time paradoxes created by his enemy, the mysterious Nine Crocodile. And it does include, though, a foreword by Kat Ironwood, who I believe was she the initial editor for the book, I
It
believe,
says, yeah, she was the
back in the
original
day? Oh, yeah,
series.
it's here.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, which Kat Ironwood, that means it would have come out of Eclipse, I think is where Aztec Ace first came out of.
I
But
think so, yeah. Mhm.
definitely a property that I've always wanted to buy, and I may have an issue or two, but I've never gotten
Yeah.
the whole thing. So, I jumped on the Kickstarter, and the rest is as I have explained it to be rather biasedly, but still, it's the truth.
Yeah. And yeah. Everything that's being said in the chat, which I'm not going to put on the screen, I totally agree with, and I have gotten all of those emails, and I have told him not to send me those emails anymore.
Yeah, that's
Like, sorry for you, just sorry. All right, moving on. Minor Threats is my next pick. It's another
Dark Horse.
Dark Horse book. I found it really funny that we just kept picking Dark Horse books. Like
Yeah,
Dark
it's
Horse, I was really afraid just didn't have any more, like new things coming out. It was
mhm.
very sort of, it's just gonna be Hellboy. That was all it was gonna be.
Yeah, it did seem that it had kind of plateaued in a lower valley there for a little while,
Yeah, but
and
I'm
now
glad
it's
to
gaining steam with newer and more varied things lately.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm glad to see that. So this is written by Scott Hepburn, Patton Oswalt, which is what drew me to it. Patton Oswalt. Um, it's just again, other than having his name, and that helps a lot. Um, to get people interested in a new series. So I'm assuming this is just a mini series. But yeah, so it says mini series right here if I can read. But yeah, so I'm gonna check it out. First issue, see what Patton Oswalt's all about. He's a funny guy. I like his stand up and everything. I like his acting. So we'll see. We'll see how he does with writing comics. Has he? I don't know if he's written any. Well, no, didn't he do? He did like some Marvel one shot or something. I think. I don't
I'm
know.
not sure.
It's kind of lost on that one. So I'm sure someone on the chat will let us know. So what you got next?
Next up is new Zodiax Aquarius one shot from Astronaut Inc. Um, Never heard of the publisher. The concept of the book, the cover grabbed me. The concept of the book. Aquarius was once the water bearer, which, if you're familiar with the zodiac, that's his niche in the zodiac. In an age where what you know can mean life or death, today the new Aquarius is the information bearer. Benjamin Feka, the liberator, is the Robin Hood of cyberspace, a teenage hacker who steals from the info rich, gives to the info poor, and becomes the most wanted man on the planet as a result. Very topical to today, I thought when I read that. I was like, okay, what that's like what's his name for WikiLeaks?
Yeah.
Kind of what he got in trouble for.
Yep.
So this is by Joe St. Pierre, and that's it. So I guess he does writing, all of the art. So interesting concept. I'm curious to see exactly what they do with, what this blurb says.
Yep. Yeah, and I like the fact that this is a publisher I've never heard of before, so that
Yeah,
makes me want
I've
to
never
check it
seen
out.
Astronaut Inc. I
Nope. Cool. All right, and this was a pick just for Hyper Potato. Gun Honey, Blood for Blood number 1 from Titan Comics. And I put this on here because I did read the first miniseries, and it was a pretty decent miniseries. For all of the eye candy that the cover art and everything else is, that's not what a majority of the interior is. So don't let the cover fool you. But it is a pretty good, it was a pretty good miniseries. So I do look forward to checking out this first issue and seeing if it continues.
And it should be a pretty easy book to get, being is that there will be 1,576,000 different variant covers.
There are a ridiculous
You
number.
should be able to find them pretty readily.
Yes. There are a ridiculous amount of covers available.
That's hyperbole, guys. Like between 30 and 35, I think is what.
Yeah.
Right, because I sent you the link to that article from.
Yeah, it was
from whoever.
It was crazy. So
yeah, lots of variant covers.
Yep. Okay, so that's our 6 picks for next week's books. So we're gonna dive now into our new. Let's see. We'll call it. Let me do this. Let me do that. Chris learning technology as we go. It's fun. So, all right. So our first book up here for the show is. Why can't I find it? There it is.
This is Microscopic.
Oh, there you go.
And that's the front and back cover. Yeah, I've got it opened up there.
Yep.
And this is a Kickstarter. This is coming to us from Keith Champagne and Rafael Forte, lettered by Taylor Esposito and colored, although, as you can see here, I know it's upside down. Mine is not colored because it's the black and white artist edition, because that's the one that I wanted on Kickstarter, because it's Keith Champagne.
Yeah, for sure.
He is a modern age eye candy artist in my mind. Colors by Priya Pillai, Pillai, when they occur. Not my edition, but not a bad story. And this is, it's labeled New Pain as the publisher, but I got it through Kickstarter. So I think New Pain is Keith Champagne's like personal imprint.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
She smuggles the guns into tight spots for whoever hires her. Oh, that's Gun
Gun Honey. Yeah.
Gun Honey. Okay. Microscopic. There's a married professorial couple, and what they have done is they are exploring the world beyond sight. Sight beyond sight. No, that's
just had a Thundercats.
Yeah, I was going to say that's different. Good call there, recognizing that. The microscopic world, the world beyond what we can see, too small. And they have found that it is quite vast enough that they decided that they wanted to explore and hopefully gain a foothold in like being able to explore the technology they used, the things they discovered, to where they could like get the market, so to speak, on the microscopic world. To do that, they invent some nano machinery that they can inject into the microscopic world, and it will the individual machines will coagulate into one amorphous machine. They then invented an artificial intelligence based on the male of the married couple. And that artificial intelligence is what they directed to control this nano organism that they had created and put into the microscopic world to explore, to record, to, sample and test, and whatever needed to be done that you couldn't do in person, as a 5'6'4" human being in a microscopic world. They bring all of these things at the same time to market, to show investors what they can do. During the procedure, during the show, kind of like almost like what they do with the Apple products now. They make this big
Mhm.
thing about it. That's what this couple is doing. And in the midst of this, the husband does something that they really hadn't talked a whole lot about, and they really hadn't used it too much, so they didn't know how it would work precisely. But he was able to use the artificial intelligence as a carrier wave and inject his consciousness into the nanobots, so that as the nanobots are going about things, he physically can sense and feel and see and taste and smell where they are, what they're doing. So he took his consciousness in lieu of his physical presence and injected it into these nanobots in the microscopic world. And they call the microscopic world underworld, underneath, something like that, under something. He's been stepping out on the wife. The wife finds out during the presentation. She gets pissed. She runs out to the presentation stage because it's just a big VR stage that he's standing on, and this is going out via the internet to the masses. And she runs out with a cup of coffee and throws it in his face, which on his head and over his eyes is the control mechanism for transporting his consciousness to the nanobots. The coffee shorts out the machinery, putting him in a coma because his consciousness now has been completely shifted into the nanobots. It is not now in any way connected to his physical body. His body's alive, but nobody's home. And, yeah, nobody's yeah, that's John Cena. Sorry. And so now she is here feeling guilty about killing her husband. Her husband is just now figuring out, oh yeah, this is cool. Hey, all right, when I go back, no. When I go back, oh man, what can I go back? So now he realizes that he's stuck there. The only connection between the two is this artificial intelligence that they created, because the device that he built primarily to shunt his consciousness has been destroyed. So at the end of the book, she decides somehow, I'm not really sure how it's going to help, but she decides to inject another mass of nanobots, and she is going to somehow, the physical devices are broken, send her consciousness to those nanobots to take control to help him. And that's about all. Chris, blow me up here. Mike asked for some interiors. Let's see. Let's go over this way. Mike, can you see those? That's black and white champagne. Let me get, let's see. I think there's a particularly.
That's some good champagne.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's another book I'm thinking about. Here's, let's see. Here's a couple. Here's a nice full page
Oh, yeah.
spread. And then here is, this is the world. This is the microscopic world. Basically, the creatures are going to be the microscopic mites that we hear about that live in our pillows. Chris, did you turn yourself off? Oh, there you go.
No, I'm sorry.
Those microscopic mites that eat off, live off of our skin cells that are in like your pillows and things, dust mites, and tardigrades. There just are not enough books about tardigrades out there. If you are familiar, they're called water bears, but so the tardigrades are the bad guys supposedly, and the dust mites are the good guys supposedly. So interesting concept. Definitely one that I'll keep up with. Depending, this Kickstarter exclusive was $10, which is right on the edge of my comfort zone.
Mhm.
I don't imagine shipping was too bad yet, because I had already paid shipping before all the world blew up and burned down, and we got monkeypox and whatever else. So I don't know. Nowadays, $10 Kickstarter would be about $20 shipped or more, 25
Nice.
shipped. It's, and this is heavy bond, that real shiny, smooth paper, and it is unknown pagination. I believe it looks to be about 32 pages, probably. So nice, heavy, good stuff. Good stuff. One of the better pre-pandemic books that I got as far as total value. The pandemic has kind of juiced that to a nasty extent lately as far as money.
Now, is the whole issue? So this was this the story that was in Heavy Metal, or was this, or is
I
this
I
spun
do not
out of
know.
that story? Okay.
I'm not sure. It doesn't. The indicia says everything about this book is original,
Oh, okay. Cool.
but that doesn't mean necessarily. I mean, because they did this on Kickstarter, they might have just wanted it to present as though it was brand new and just
Yeah.
not mention that. Oh, well, 6 years ago, if you'd have bought Heavy Metal, you'd have seen it in that.
Oh no, I'm looking at the
So,
Kickstarter right now, and it says it's from the pages, but I didn't know if that meant this particular story, because there's nothing
or
in it.
the concept,
Right, nothing in it
right?
says that these were reprinted from that. I don't
Right.
see anything on it.
And there's your nice big old. Let's see which one.
I'll see.
There, nice big old tardigrade water bear there. See him?
Yeah,
Yep. Yeah. So good
yeah.
stuff.
You just
Good stuff.
we definitely don't get those very often in comics. So.
Um.
Oh, it says it
Martin.
continues from
Oh,
this first. Okay,
oh,
so yeah,
okay. There
it's
you go.
all new story, art, and everything. Okay,
Martin,
so
I'm not
cool.
sure off the top of my head, man. My best offer would be just to look up Microscopic on Kickstarter. Should give you the link and go and see if it says anything there as far as if they have a store to get it. I've had this a little while. This is probably about 6 weeks or maybe 8 weeks old for me. So that tells you the campaign finished up whenever, and they finally got around to shipping everything out, finishing probably about 2 months ago. So, if there is a store, New Pain, maybe you could look up New Pain on the internet, just spelled just like it sounds, New and Pain, 2 words. Productions, maybe they have a website and a link that you could go and get these issues prior to the second issue coming out. Hopefully, not everybody does it for some reason, but hopefully, when they do two, there'll also be a format, not a format, a level. There we
A
go. That you can
tier,
get
yeah,
one with it. Yeah, a tier. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Everybody doesn't do that, and I've never figured out why. If
yeah,
you're in a later issue as one of your tiers, why don't you? Now, a lot of times they will offer a digital catch up. So
yeah.
maybe they just don't have the books to do a physical catch up. So they just don't do any of it at all. It's just digital catch up if that's what you want to catch up. But, if I'm buying a physical number three, I don't know that I would necessarily want a digital only one and two. I mean, if I'm getting a physical three, I'd like to have a physical one and two.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah. So, your light went out, Chris. You went out, Chris. Oh, cool. I have to pay closer attention to your Kickstarter tweets. No storefront is, it looks like, been looking during the discussion. Okay. Yeah. Martin, every time I support a Kickstarter, I like it enough to go ahead and tweet out, that I'm supporting it. So yeah, pretty much on um, Twitter. Although can't you like friend me on Kickstarter and get notice of all the things that I support there too? Right? Doesn't it work that way? It's the Edge Show. Yep. Yep. I'll Ed all the time. And so Chris is not here. So, and there it looks like it's just me. So I'm not sure if he's going to be able to get back in without kicking me out or not. But either way, what I will do is I will move on with what was going to be my second pick. It'll be a little bit harder. You guys will have to pay a little bit more attention because it's just me on the screen. But this is another Kickstarter. This is from Alias Studios. It's a book called Night Watch. Let me flip over here and see if. Nope, I thought Chris had just tweeted me. Yep, my laptop just shut down. I'm working to get it back up. Well, there we go. Okay, Night Watch. For those of you out there, this is Night Watch. Nice, rather 90s imagey kind of cover. Alias Studios. This was off a Kickstarter as well. Daniel Caliban is the writer co-creator. Gabe Esquivo Santos is the penciler co-creator. David Rivera, the inker. Daniel Erm, I believe, the colorist. Francisco Zamora is the letterer. Looks like it had 3 covers, and I have the A cover. Interesting concept for this one. This is about a gentleman who is just picked up off the street, partially because he kind of has a Steve Rogers physique pre-procedure, and he is kidnapped off the streets by an organization, probably military industrial complex organization, but we don't know that for sure. They don't say that, to experiment on to create a better soldier. And it's kind of he is injected with several different things, like Cap was injected by a couple different chemical agents and then exposed to the, what was it, Vita rays, I think they called it. Well, this gentleman is exposed to several different fluids that are pumped into him in rather painful measure, it seems. And at the end of the procedure, he is rather thick and hulking, where he was just a slight man. But then when he gets something, when he gets angry, when he is in physical pain, because both happen, he changes, and he changes into this dude here. The first time, this is his face and what he looks like. Something interesting about the aspect of him is this symbol that's on his chest looks kind of like a bat in flames, maybe. And several panels, if you see him in profile, that emblem seems to be flaming out of his body. So it's not just a static kind of symbol on his chest. It's something about his nature that is causing it to. Oh, and it won't start back up. Uh-oh. Sounds like it's a battery, or if you had it plugged in, sounds like it's a board problem. The flame from the symbol extends out there quite a bit. He is large and hulking, a combination of, let's see, Spawn in some aspects, Pit in some aspects, from both from Image Comics. Probably one of the bigger actual drawbacks of the book is, let me see where there's a lot of. Whenever this creature, when he changes into this large purple hulking violent creature, yeah, here's a good one. When he speaks, this annoys me. When he speaks, he speaks in. Let's see, where are they? He speaks in purple text in black speech bubbles, making it very, very hard to read. My 54-year-old eyes at night have a very difficult time reading this. But he is created and then breaks loose. And for some reason, they didn't know enough about his pre-change person, his physical form, to be able to track him or find him once he ran out. So he runs out on this procedure because he's conscious enough afterwards to hear and understand what they're saying and decide that he doesn't want to be a part of that. Here's a little bit of eye candy there for you. That's a neighbor of his that lives in the apartment building. She's an unlicensed therapist, and I believe she's a sex therapist by what they say. So he's turns out to just be a clocker dude. He's just a normal dude. And he goes through this physical change initiated by this science team, military team wanting to create super soldiers. The process apparently works on him, and then he runs out, changing back to his human person, which they don't seem to be able to find him for some reason. I'm not really sure how that's possible, honestly, unless it's going to come out later on that they really didn't want to track him. There, it's part of the experiment to see how he handles being on his own before they bring him in and control him and everything. But he turns into this creature now, very shortly in the story, whenever he wants to, and he stops a mugging in the final portion of the story by turning into this creature and combating like 3 or 4 small firearm wielding bad guys. And he saves a little kid. And the little funny thing at the end of the comic here, the little kid says, "How do I get to be like you?" I guess that's probably the most levity in the entire book, actually. So, Kickstarter, Alias Studios. This is a recent one. This came in within the last. This probably came in this past weekend, actually. All right, I guess I will talk about my third book, Sinister Mercy 6, Pray for Sinner 4, and Jenghar and Shredder 2. Mike says that those are the 3 Kickstarters he's got this week. So, yeah, something else. For those that follow me on Twitter, Teal, Teal Productions, every weekend I've gotten in a habit here the last little bit. That's when I get to my mailbox and pick up my mail. And so any Kickstarters that I get, and actually other things that I've been posting, I'll post calling it mail call. And that's usually Saturday afternoonish, Saturday evening, that I'll post those pics of everything. And Kickstarters, I'll post a picture of the cover, or the spread that I got if it's a package or things like that. So, yes. So since Chris is not able to get his laptop back started, I guess what I will do is I'll finish up the show by going over the final book that I was going to talk about, and this also is another Kickstarter. This is from G-Man Comics. It is Taranis the Thunderlord. This is a character from Celtic mythology. So the book, there's 2 stories in it. Both stories are pretty rife with Celtic mythologies and places and character names and things like that from Celtic myth, which for me, a lot of these I am basically familiar with. But for those people that aren't all that knowledgeable in Celtic mythology, it's a good book, particularly when you consider that Celtic mythology probably is older than even the Greek or Roman mythology that we're certainly familiar with, and perhaps as old or older than Norse mythology, which of course we're also familiar with. So, Taranis is the Celtic god of, among other things, thunder. Hey, is Chris back on?
I am on my phone.
You're on your phone. Hey,
yes.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
Hold on. My mic is horrible. So I apologize. Yes, I've been listening to you while I've been trying to get everything set up.
Get back.
Yeah, apparently the laptop just shut down on its own, and every time I try and get to the login screen, it just shuts down again. So I've been having computer problems all day today. So this just sort of makes sense. Sucks that it happened when it did happen.
Okay.
So
what do you want to do about the rest of the show?
I would think it'd probably be better you go ahead and finish up with your last review,
Okay.
and then we'll kind of close out.
Okay.
It'll just be easier.
Okay, that's cool. Let's see. Let me get some pages here for those of you to see. It's very color saturated. I'll go over this way. Very color saturated. I apologize for the difficulty in seeing this with my beautiful backlight here over my head. The first story is a back in the day story about Taranis and his betrothed female companion Dara, who is his warrior love. It says she is more. Now all of this deals with mythological. So she is more human than he is, but even in that humanity, I wouldn't say that she's like baseline human like the rest of us. I would say she probably is in the demigod goddess realm kind of thing, because she can fire golden arrows that are very deadly. She never misses. They can't be stopped. Yada 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 yada. So it's so this is the first story is about he and her going up against Beglog, the snake-limbed, and this is a big two-page spread. Let's see, sorry about that. So nice two-page spread there early on, and fortunately for me, anyways, that's pretty much the only two-page spreads, because although I have this in physical, I have grown to not like two-page spreads because I read a lot of digital comics, and they don't work in the digital format. So I'm not a fan of them at all. If you want to do something big and pretty, make a poster. I'll buy your poster if that's what I want. Second story is a modern day. This is a back when. The first story is whenever. It's not really placed, but it doesn't occur in or around any modernity in the story. So it's some other time in the past. There's a modern story which basically is the introduction to the modern world of Taranis. Kind of rough, because there's a gentleman in a museum that, because of a sequence of events, grabs up a statue of Taranis that is on display. And it says, with one sharp cry, he gives his life so that the world will carry on. So he dies, and taking his place is Taranis, the Thunderlord. So I guess he inhabits his body or something, however that would precisely work. And he goes about, Taranis now goes about fighting a troll who has attacked the museum. And we also see the appearance of Simon N. Kirby and Sergeant Flag, which are a couple other G-Man characters. And any of those of you that are familiar with G-Man's books, actually the Sergeant Flag I talked about, I think, last week. And I haven't talked about Simon Kirby yet, although I have the book over here. So they are part of the hero team in this world. And by the cover, I would suggest that probably what they're going to do is, they'll probably go up against him and fight him. The good guys always do fight each other. We know that. But then he will become part of their team of superheroes that they're kind of putting together with the Kirby and Flag and Lynx that I spoke about last week. This is on the back cover. This is probably all of their characters that they are publishing and will be publishing that will go together to form that supergroup. G-Man on Kickstarter kind of caught my interest because this particular thing that I pledged for was 5 first issues. And I thought, well, to really get a handle on what they're doing with their universe, I thought that was a pretty good group of books. Probably paid a little bit too much for it, to be honest with you, but they've mostly been entertaining. Chris, you remember that the Flag book I talked about, I thought was written down.
Yeah.
This one doesn't seem to have suffered from that at all. The creatives, which I didn't give, let me do that, are...
Well, and I wonder if that's on purpose.
It could be.
Yeah.
And if it is, they did a really good job at doing that too, so.
Mission accomplished.
Yep. Words and Letters are by Eric Bennett, which is a completely different dude than did the Lynx or the Fury books. So there we go. Arnaldo Jr. is Pictures. Victor Rainery is Colors. And Rick Offenberger, which is a name that sounds familiar to me, although I'm not 100% sure why. Maybe just from the G-Man books. He's the editor-in-chief. So, so there we go. G-Man Comics off of Kickstarter. These, now I do know G-Man Comics does have a web presence, and you can get a lot of their books post Kickstarter off of their store that they have up there. G-Man had Steven Silver Saber, Spider-Man covers. That's what originally caught my attention. Okay, yeah, I definitely could see that. Ed's most controversial comic book takes live. Send all emails in the aftermath to Chris, though. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Chris will field those. And
I'll do my best. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, and so that is my side, and unfortunately, Chris has had some technical problems. So we have heard his side.
Yeah, I hate that I couldn't talk about the books I was going to talk about. I had a couple Vault books, just to give you a heads up. Barbaric, the Axe to Grind #1, the first issue of that new series. I've been talking about it with FOC and new releases. Every time it comes up on a list, I will say I read it, really enjoyed it. The art in it's great. It's definitely one of those books that I feel like, if you are just into just sort of crazy, violent, barbarian kind of tales, it's a great book. But at the same time, it's got really solid characters in it, and so it's just a nice package put together. The other one was Heart Eyes #1 by Vault. It's a Dennis Hopeless written book. Again, didn't know what to expect, or didn't have any expectations when I went into it, read it. Really, really good concept. It gave us a really good cliffhanger at the end of it. Basically a post-apocalyptic world where, not just monsters just showed up. And you were kind of left at the end of the issue going, oh, is this how the monster showed up? And so I'm sure we'll find that out. And then the other one was last week's Parker Girls #1 that Terry Moore put out. I didn't get a chance to get my copy of it last week when it came out. I didn't get it till last night. So finally got a chance to read that. Super good book. I'm a huge fan of Terry Moore. So anytime he's got a book out, I'll pick it up.
Yep, absolutely.
So, but yeah, so I wish I had had some time. I don't know what the issue is. My computer is now back up and it seemed to have stabilized, but I also unplugged my microphone and my headset and camera and everything from it.
Yeah.
So I'm afraid as soon as I plug that stuff back in, it might go bad again. So, and I'm not even entirely sure what this is like on the phone for the podcast. So, or how well. So hopefully, and I didn't want to overdo that. So, if you don't have anything else, I mean, we can close out.
No, I'm good.
All right. So you can come by the website, comicaddiction.net. We have a brand new email address. If you want to email us, it's comicaddictionpodcast@gmail.com.
Hey, that's rather intuitive.
It makes it really easy. And apparently comicaddiction@gmail was already taken. So
of course it was. Yeah.
So watch it, watch I have it and just not realize it.
No, I bet no. There's what? There's a comic book store.
Oh yeah, there is
another website that used that.
Yeah,
so I bet it's one of those.
So yeah, if you want to email us, comicaddictionpodcast@gmail.com. You don't have to put anything special in the subject line. We'll know it's for the show.
Hey, there you go.
I'm not giving anyone that email address other than the podcast.
Just make it that much easier. Yeah,
it's just so much easier for me. You can follow the website, everything at or on Twitter at Comic Addiction. You can follow Ed at Teal Productions. You can follow me at Chris Parton. All of that's in the show notes. You can come by our forums, which is over on Stephen Orr's Just Another Fanboy forums. What's the address on that one? I don't have my notes in front of me.
JustAnotherFanboy.freeforums.net.
Yep. And I keep saying I'll come over there. I finally got my login issues settled, and it all works now. I just need to actually get over there and start writing. So hopefully I will get some time to actually do that. So Ed and Steven are over there all the time posting stuff. I know quite a few folks that check out the show are over there as well. So be sure to go over there, support Steven and all he's doing.
If any of you go over there, quit lurking and get a login and do something, because we have far more visitors than we actually have members at the forum. So I know people go over there and look. If you go and look, just take a second set up a name and login for yourself and say, "Hey, I looked. Ciao."
Yep.
Just something to let us know you're there. Don't just lurk. Come on and participate. It's cool.
Exactly. Exactly. Let's see. Anything else? I think that's a.
Well, let's see. Over here we've got first we've got Hyper Potato giving everybody a formal letter about how they're outraged about what I said when they email
Oh
me.
yeah,
So
he's trying to help out.
um,
I'm learning
yeah,
how to use StreamYard on my phone right as we speak. So
and unless it has to do with Drew Ford and it's alive, I haven't said anything off color. So
no,
and,
no.
hey Chris,
I
Doug
do like
S.
that my phone is the new fire.
Alias, yep. Uh, Doug, you've got to get into that Terry Moore humble bundle, man.
Oh,
You
you got
you
oh
will
man. Yeah,
like
totally
you
forgot
will
that was
like
the
the
thing.
the eye,
Yep.
you will like the writing, you will like the worlds. I would suggest starting with the story. What was story? Chris, what was the story about the gorilla?
Oh
Or
yeah.
Martin,
Oh
if you're still
gosh.
on here,
If you
what was
wouldn't have
the
asked me, I couldn't.
yeah? What was the Terry Moore with the gorilla? Because it was only about 10 or
Yeah,
11 issues long.
yeah. And that's been the thing. Like all of his stuff is in the same universe. As
Yes.
crazy as that sounds. I mean, you take the Parker Girls, Strangers in Paradise, which is where it all started.
Yeah,
Uh,
now that's a long one in
that's
like
yeah, that's quite a
3
long. It's
volumes,
a
I
couple of
think, or
different
something like that.
publishers and stuff like that.
Yeah. Motor
But
Girl,
Parker
that was
Girls
it.
takes is straight from Strangers in Paradise.
Yes.
Uh, and then but then you've also got Rachel Rising, which is a
Yes.
supernatural story. Motor Girl,
Motor Girl. Yeah.
thank you,
Thank you, Martin.
Martin.
You've got a science fiction story about a girl that finds this stuff
Oh,
that
the
turns
armor,
into an
yeah,
armored suit that allows her to fly, and it
yep,
turned out it's a military experiment that got away from them, and then
yep, literally,
they go to get it back, and she's like, "Well, I don't know if I want to give it back," and they tell her, "Well, you don't have a choice," and
yep.
yeah, Terry. But for me, the best thing about Terry Moore is he is one of the best people
Oh yeah,
writers.
yeah,
Males sound like males, females sound like males, and anybody else, any other gender, anything else sounds like what they are. The gorilla sounded
right,
like well, he sounded like a talking gorilla, but
yeah,
yeah, that's explained in the story. So, yeah, Rachel Rising
yeah.
is
That was a really good one. Yeah,
and there's a sequel to Rachel Rising as well.
yeah.
Um,
Serial. I haven't had a chance to read
yes,
Serial yet,
and then
and there was 5 years that just came out not too long
which is
ago.
everybody. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's all of his different aspects of
yep,
his world together. But all of this occurs in the same world. So if
yeah,
you read all of his different things, they're all occurring next door, even though they don't meet
yeah,
except in pretty much 5 years. Now,
yeah.
if you go and you look at fan sites or whatever, they'll tell you that, oh, well, this character made an appearance in this panel
Right,
in this book,
exactly.
but that doesn't really count as a crossover.
Yeah,
It's Terry Moore. He just needed a body and he put him in there. So,
yep.
but yeah, definitely, Terry Moore is another one of those creators that when something of his pops up, it's always very high on my list to check it out. I have never been disappointed by anything Terry Moore has done. He's also done some other non his own stuff.
Oh,
I
sure.
don't
Yeah,
want to I don't want to call it mainstream, but the bigger publisher stuff. Not a whole lot. Most of his stuff has been in his world with Abstract Studios. But
yeah. And
yeah,
keeping in mind, if you don't know Terry Moore that much, I mean, Abstract's him and his wife. I mean,
yeah,
he does the writing, the art. I mean, it's all black and white, so it's not obviously no coloring or anything like that. But does all the cover art. I mean,
yep,
I mean, I was listening to iFanboy podcast the other day, and Parker Girls was their pick of the week, and they're
okay,
huge fans
yep,
of Terry Moore as well, and so they were really going into detail about about his history and stuff like that. But yeah, if you've never read anything Terry Moore, I would highly suggest. I mean, obviously, Strangers in Paradise is the go to,
yeah,
but this first issue of Parker Girls, you wouldn't need to know any of that. This
cool,
stands on its own. All of the series. I mean, other than Serial and 5 years, all of them stand on their own. So you can easily pick up any of them and give them a shot. So
yeah, definitely any amount of time that you're able to put into it, I think you'll find it worth your time and effort. So yeah, I would definitely recommend Terry more.
Yeah, and Martin's right. Yeah, I've not had a chance to meet him at a con yet, but I have heard this from everybody who's ever talked to him that Terry Martin's wife are great to chat to at cons and stuff. They're super friendly. So
yeah, cool stuff.
Alrighty, well, I appreciate everybody hanging in there with us through technical difficulties and everything like that. Martin, thank you very much for joining us in the chat tonight.
Yeah,
and always Doug and Hyper and Mike. Thanks
Mike
for showing up
Terry,
as normal as usual. We appreciate you guys holding the fort for us. Ed, again, appreciate it for sort of like not missing a beat there and jumping in there. I was a little concerned about how to end the stream because I couldn't get back into StreamYard.
Right, yeah, I worried
just
about
been
that.
one of those
when I saw it was
continuous.
just me, I'm like, oh, I wonder if he can get
I
back
kept going, does
now.
Ed have like the ability to turn it off on his side?
I have no controls.
It would have been 24 hours of comic addiction. So just Ed's room just constantly going.
Yep, because I'd have got up and
you just left.
This is the room. I'll turn the light out, and you can just put it on your screen, and it'll be ambiance or whatever you're doing. Yeah, it's not a burning log, but it's the best I can do.
Yeah. So, but all right. Well, this was episode 145. Again, appreciate everybody checking us out. We will be back next week with 146. I'm hopefully no technical issues that week, but hey, you never know. This is what you might get. So
this is it.
So be here. Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube. We will. If you follow us on Twitter, you'll definitely at least right before the show goes live, you'll find out that we're going live. So come over, join us, hang out with us. If you're just checking us out on the audio portion, the podcast, the original way of getting Comic Addiction, we appreciate all of you for checking us out. It's always fun looking through the stats and seeing where folks are downloading the show from. We're all over the place. It's kind of crazy. There's quite a few listeners in Germany, which is interesting. So hello to all of y'all. So
our German fans, thank you.
Yes, yeah, we're big. Us and David Hasselhoff, we're big in Germany.
Absolutely, yes. The Hoff and Comic Addiction. All right,
and Comic Addiction. It makes total sense. I can see where the correlation is. So, but yeah, thank you everybody for listening, and we will catch you later. Goodbye.
Ciao.
Whew. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I really was starting to freak out because I was. Well, yeah, because I haven't ended the show yet. So
right.
So everybody in the chat, again, thank y'all for checking us out. I'm going to end the show. Ed, I may accidentally disconnect because, again, not knowing how the website works on my phone. But again, thanks everybody for checking us out, and we will see y'all later. Goodbye,
guys.